So it seems that my hot take of STR Cooler and Tech Kale and Khalifa has reached its way over to the Dokkan subreddit. Now, I've already gone through all these different comments. I've seen all the different reactions of people. I actually just finished recording a 34-minute video talking about this whole thing. I did not want to, post that one because that is definitely way too long, so I'm gonna try and make this short and sweet. Right now, a lot of people have commented and talked about how, yes, Cooler has aged, blah blah blah, his defense sucks and everything, he doesn't stand a candle, hold a candle to Tech Khalifa. And let me give my reasoning, because I don't think a lot of people understand why I said STR Cooler versus Kale over Kale and Khalifa, right? This goes to the whole discussion that I've had in previous videos of that you can't have, there is no proper tier list of top 10 TURs, because the TURs in particular are split into two separate categories, especially this time around, this year. We've seen a bunch of different units that have had this, right? We have the most versatile units versus the one-man army units. Now, I chose STR Cooler over Kale and Khalifa because I love, especially for a lot of Cooler's teams and whatnot, I love Cooler's versatility. I love being able to either A, run him as a main rotation unit, and he still performs exceptionally well in basically all content. Pure and Hybrid Saiyans in particular, obviously, he still absolutely destroys. And obviously, if I don't run him as a main rotation unit, I can just keep him off to the side as a floater support type unit, which he still is a great support type unit for transformation boosts or terrifying conquerors. Terrifying conquerors in particular for super battle roll situations. He is still one of the only units in the game to give 2 key and 50% support to a certain category. Keep that in mind. Now, obviously, you don't see this too often, given that it's 2 or more enemies, but it's there. Super battle roll situations, when you're running Frieza family teams and whatnot with him, that's 50% support that he's giving them. It's still insane to this day. Compared to Kale and Khalifa, where you have to run the team around them. They are a unit where if you run the team around them, they will absolutely dominate. There's no question about that. But they're not a unit where you just float them off to the side and they'll do well either. Number one, because obviously, something to keep in mind, they are a stacking unit, stacking attack and defense. You want them on the main rotation, so that way they can stack their attack and defense more commonly. So they're, and also, considering that, yeah, they work well with the other Universe 6 members. They do have a pretty solid link set, all things considered, too. But again, this is a type of unit, especially for defense stacking units, you want them on the main rotation. Therefore, you want to build the team around them. Like I said, compared to Cooler, where if I'm not running him on the main rotation, I can just float him off to the side, and he'll do just fine there. And a lot of people have commented about this, right? People refusing to acknowledge Cooler's age. Yes, I can admit that Cooler has aged quite a bit. Do I still use him though? Yes, all the time do I use Cooler, but do I consider him a top 15 unit? No, absolutely not. His damage is still very good with his full passive and active skill, and his leader skill is still amazing. His damage is a bit lackluster, which I don't agree with, considering that he could do 4 or 5 million attack stats turn 3, and then also with guaranteed crits. So that is something to keep in mind. Here's an article that I did want to point out right here. Cooler is an extreme class unit. Do you have any idea how long it'll take for him to be outdated just by that information alone? Besides, he's still a rare 50% support type unit in Super Battle Royale and Ret Saiyans while being among the best partners for Final Form Cooler. He's talking about the EZA physical Final Form Cooler, which is a god level unit. Final Form Cooler is nuts. He still performs extremely well for the types of content that he wants to be using. Hard-hitting units can age well too, I do like this comment a lot. I do respect this very, very much. And here's the thing. For whatever reason, people have this ridiculous mindset that every unit needs to have 300k defense minimum, otherwise you get one-tapped by anything. That's just not how the game works. Yes, finally someone can agree with me on that statement. Finally! The Cooler can get up to, around 200,000 defense, give or take, which is more than enough to take double digits in all content of the game, other than like the God event, for example. Can he tank a super attack? No, absolutely not. He would get slapped by a super attack, but that's why you just move him out of harm's way. It's that simple. I just don't understand. And there was one other comment that I really wanted to point out here. Where is he? Where is he? I definitely wanted to point out this one comment. Let me see. Guaranteed crits is like 75% is still really good. And pre-transformation, he's dedicated support for one of the most stacked categories in the game. He still has a lot of value. His damage output, even with the crits, is kind of averaged out. That's just not true. Just like, here's the thing with guaranteed crits, right? Take SCR Super Vegeta, for example. He guaranteed crits against everybody, right? But he's only doing 3 to 4 million attack stat, and he's not getting higher unless you're popping an active skill with him for that one turn where he gets up to like 5-6 million, right, with his active skill. Otherwise, you're realistically sitting around 3 to 4 million with him with a guaranteed crit. Cooler gets 3 to 4 million with him with guaranteed crits against pure and hybrid Saiyans, which, like he said, makes up 75% of the game, and is only going to get higher from there. I don't understand why people think that it's just not good anymore. Yeah, the fact that he doesn't have some kind of defense raise on SA hurts him in newer content. Yes, of course it does. Where is it? Aha, there it is. What's Cooler gonna do against a super attack in the God event? Let me ask you something in my defense, in my rebuttal. Why would you be using SCR Cooler in the God event? Let me answer that for you. You're not. You are not using SCR Cooler in the God event. It's just, it blows my mind that people would even consider that a factor. Considering that, number one, most units in the game, including recent units, cannot take on the God event. The God event is still, to this day, the most difficult event in the entire game, where only a few teams in the game can actually go up and beat it. Universal Survival Saga easily being the top category in the game to use in that, in the God event, right? But let's take Kale and Caulifla, for example. Kale and Caulifla are on Universal Survival Saga. Does that mean that they're automatically good for God event? No, absolutely not. Because people have this false impression. The same applies for Tech Ultimate Gohan, for example. That turn 1, they start out with 300,000 defense, they can't be touched. Which is not true at all. Especially in Kale and Caulifla's case, you're starting out with 120, 150,000 defense, maybe give it 180,000 defense turn 1, which is good, but it's not untouchable. They can get slapped around too, turn 1, especially in the God event, and that's something to keep in mind, unlike Tech Ultimate Gohan, who at least has the guaranteed guard going for him, and he has greatly stacking defense. These guys would get slapped around too, because there's only a couple of AGL bosses in the God event, right? I would think it's like only Champa and Belmont? Am I mistaken? That only Champa and Belmont? Champa, I can see these guys doing pretty well in, right? They would be, I think, okay. Champa doesn't really hit that hard. Belmont? Forget about it. No shot you're using this unit against Belmont. Belmont is such a cheat code, it's not even fair. These guys would get absolutely slapped around by Belmont, and it's not even close. So, like, yeah, these guys aren't going to be working very well against the God event. And even in Extreme Super Battle Road situations, too. These guys can get caught in Extreme Super Battle Road as well. That's just, how it is. They don't start out with 250,000 defense plus. They start out with 120 to 150,000 defense, right? So they can get caught, too. And they have no dodging. Now, yes, granted, turn 6 they can heal with Kefla if you so choose, but that's turn 6, which realistically you are not getting half the time in Super Battle Road situations. If you're taking that long to Super Battle Road, then you're just going out of your way to try and get that free heal, which is cool and all, but it's definitely not worth the risk half the time, right? So, I mean, we can keep going just for a little bit more here. I mean, I've already read through this. I'll even leave a link down below in the description if you guys want to go check that out. But bottom line is, the reason why I talked about this take pretty often, right, is because this, like I said, this is a whole discussion in itself. Who is a better TUR? Of more versatile unit or a better one-man army unit? Take STR Videl as a prime example, right? STR Videl arguably is the strongest one-man army unit in the game, but she's not versatile because her link set sucks and she's only on like 3 or 4 teams. But as a standalone unit, she's one of the strongest units in the entire game, right? But nobody uses her because her categories suck and her link set sucks. Compared to STR Super Vegeta, for example, who's on everyone's teams and is still very, very good, considering that he's a pure Saiyan's leader, which automatically makes him one of the most versatile units and valuable units in the entire game, right? Cooler is a prime example of that more valuable unit. Villain type teams love Cooler because of transformation boosts and terrifying conquerors support, for example, right? And also, Cooler has one of the best villain link sets in the entire game. Big bad bosses, brutal beatdown, metamorphosis, thirst for conquest. A lot of top tier villains have that link set with him. So that's why Cooler is in of itself more valuable, especially for the villain teams compared to Kale and Caulifla, which, yeah, on a Universe 16, Kale and Caulifla is definitely a must run, but in a Universal Survival Saga team, absolutely not. Like, looking at Kale and Caulifla's teams, Peppy Gals, yes. Universal Survival Saga, no. Patara literally has not gotten buffed in, like, 2 years or something like that, so I'm not even going to count this unit, too much for that team. Maybe, sure. Pure Saiyans, absolutely not. Full power, maybe. Universe 6, absolutely. Joint forces, absolutely not. Super Saiyan 2, not really. Final trump card, no. Rapid growth, absolutely. Time limit, debatable. Bond of friendship, I mean, yeah, they lead the category, so obviously. Accelerated battle, maybe, you could say that. They aren't a staple for their teams like Cooler is for movie bosses, transformation boosts, wicked bloodlines, terrifying conqueror, target go-to, final trump card, maybe, not really. Space traveling warriors and planetary destruction. Cooler is basically a must run on all those teams, in my personal opinion, just because his support is very good, and then when you transform and knowing that you're going against pure and hybrid Saiyan units, yeah, Cooler is still demolishing all of them with guaranteed crits, especially on those turns where you get 3 super attacks with guaranteed crits. There are still very few bosses in the game that can survive 3 super attacks of guaranteed crits from Cooler. I think, what? Super Saiyan 4 Goku at the very end of the GT Legendary Goku event. Master UI Goku at the end of the regular Legendary Goku event. Maybe. And maybe probably AGL Blue Evolution Vegeta at the end of Legendary Vegeta event, assuming Cooler doesn't get killed in that event. Because I will admit, Cooler will get slapped around by AGL Blue Evolution Vegeta in that event, but, I mean, he's an AGL unit, so what do you expect? So, bottom line is, yes, I know this is a hot take. I know a lot of people disagree because I know a lot of people like Kale and Caulifla, especially as characters. And I'm not trying to be biased considering how much I love STR Cooler, but number one, this is my personal opinion, so F off. Number two, the most important thing, I prefer valuable units over one-man army units, which is why, yeah, STR Videl, for example, like I said, is arguably the strongest TUR in the entire game in terms of one-man army status, just maybe aside from like the new tech androids, for example. But she's not very valuable because you're not going to be running her on a lot of different teams compared to Super Vegeta, for example, who you're going to be running on all of his teams, right? So that's my personal take and discussion of it. Also, I also saw a lot of comments about, like, the Instagram community and something else. Bro, literally read the Dokkan subreddit. I should not be the sum of the Instagram community. The Instagram community is a great, fun community. We have a lot of fun over there with all the different Dokkan pages and whatnot. Yeah, sure, we have our few outliers and whatnot, but the subreddit, y'all are wild. Y'all are wild. Do you know how many times you have gotten memed on by, like, truth videos and stuff like that? I mean, it's not even close. So, no need to bash for my one take, no need to bash the Instagram community for my one take. That's just ridiculous. So that's it. That's all I gotta really say about that, about this whole topic and whatnot. I prefer Cooler's versatility and valuableness over Kale and Khalifa's one-man army status. Again, my personal opinion. Like I said, a lot of people are disagreeing with me, but again, that's my personal opinion. So you're free to, choose with what you got. And that's really all I gotta say about that, to be honest. Like I said, I'll put a link down below to the subreddit link, if you want to check out all the different comments and whatnot. I'll also put a link down below to the Instagram post, that way you can see all of those comments on that. And that's it. That's all I really gotta say about that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.